Hello there, my name's Sean, also known as the Determinator. Today we have a post-game commentary on a game in this new tournament that's just started, the Wandering Albatross Wrestle, I believe. See, this is an interesting tournament that has a Swiss-style first stage where you play 3 players, and then you have to play another 3 in a sort of second stage, and then in the third stage you play another 3, so you play 9 players overall, and then it's the top, I think top 64 players or something goes through to the next round. I don't quite understand how it works, but well done to the tournament organisers for getting that together. This is our first game in the tournament against Iraq. So we're hoping for a bit better luck than obviously the previous tournament, the World Cup, which is still going on, obviously, but I'm very much out. But I enjoyed it. But obviously we're going second in this game, and we get a very interesting starting hand, which it's the options are full tuck or full tuck, because we get 3 very good tucking birds that you could put in the wetlands. It's not like the perfect full tuck start because a couple of issues. One, no food access whatsoever. There was a couple of forest birds there that I could have taken, but I think I just want to keep these wetland tucking birds, and I can't keep the forest birds as well. It leaves me far not enough food at all. So that's one issue, lack of food. And the other one is I'm going to have 2 birds which obviously lay eggs on them, the grackle and the blackbird. So I'm going to be picking up 2 cards and then tucking both. So I'm going to have no surplus cards whatsoever if I'm going to run this. So there needs to be some additions for this to be a really good full tuck situation. So obviously I had to take those 3 birds, there was no question about that. Bit of a problem with the food, obviously I only got 2 food, and obviously I'll want to get down in this first round the swallow and one of the other birds. That's sort of the minimum, and to do that obviously I could see no option. Obviously the tray is awful. I could see no option but to just take food twice before we started, so that's what I decided to do. So yeah, I could have. So my plan actually initially was just to take the 2 worms in the feeder and then play the blackbird and then the swallow. But then I realised, of course, I got the grackle, which takes a wild food. So actually, I could just take a worm, and if my opponent takes the other worm, it doesn't matter. I'll still have the food, enough food. I can just take any random food, and then I'll have the food for the grackle and the swallow to get started, and then we can start digging and hopefully find something to alleviate the 2 issues that I alluded to just then. And yeah, I was able to get both worms, so my opponent picking up the migratory bird, so it's a bit of a desperate situation if they're doing that. So yeah, so my plan initially was to get the grackle down first, but actually I think I've worked out it's I'm talking to other people, it's a point more to put down the bird that doesn't lay eggs on itself first, the swallow, because if you're putting eggs on the grackle and then running it, you'll get full on it quicker. So best to put the bird that doesn't get eggs lay on it first, and so that was the swallow in this case. So yeah, just swallow down eggs, then I'm going to play the grackle. My opponent they must have had an awful starting hand, because they only kept the turkey vulture, and they picked up the migratory bird, the white crowned sparrow, so that was their only wetland option, so that must have been an awful starting hand for them. Obviously my opponent very good recently, got to a final of a tournament, so I was very much up against it here. I knew I'd need some luck, and this is the sort of luck definitely I was after with these. Potential for a full tuck here, reasonable chance of a good full tuck. Obviously, my bonus cards, I don't think I talked about them. I forgot what my other one was. But yeah, I got multiple habitats because I already had 2, obviously the swallow and the grackle, so I thought there was a chance I could get something like that. Obviously, when you're running full tuck, bonus cards is not your game, but I thought I still had some chance of that. And the first draw reveals absolutely nothing I was interested in whatsoever. But this yellow-billed cuckoo may be useful. Obviously, to get eggs would be certainly very nice. Any extra eggs? But I was already potentially going to get 2 birds that are getting eggs on, so it wasn't absolutely essential. And second draw, we get a hummingbird. So again, I was just thinking, what would this magpie be useful as well as a grassland defense, and as well as this cuckoo? But I decided to see there's no obvious. My opponent isn't definitely going grasslands yet, and I do need to tuck stuff, so best to just get rid of them. Yeah, it was obviously very expensive, that cuckoo, even though I did now have food access. But yeah, obviously the hummingbird also meets the bonus card, so that's quite nice. And yeah, I'm not necessarily I think I've spoken about this before. I'm not necessarily the anti-Geast when it comes to co-op birds, but I do tend to use them sparingly, and only in a situation where it was really absolutely necessary, like this. Yeah, I suppose I just don't have the confidence in myself to use the food more efficiently than my opponent, so that's why I'm always a bit careful about it. But in this situation, absolutely do full tuck. I would always quite happily use a co-op bird like this, because yes, I know how strong this full tuck can be, and definitely need food. So yeah, hummingbird goes down. My opponent found the chipping sparrow, so that's really nice for them, and they're digging for their migratory bird. Yeah, just discarding an egg to get an extra card, because I did get the chaffinch, but I sort of vaguely think about whether that's worth keeping. But so yeah, now I'm just looking to get the food for this yellow blackbird, and look, we get a reroll, but we don't get a worm or a grain, so I have to just take a cherry. We do get another hummingbird, and I think I do have a think about going double hummingbird, but after getting 2 food, not absolutely essential in a full tuck situation, and you want birds that gives you points in these slots in the wetlands, rather than as much as getting 2 food seems quite attractive here. It's not absolutely essential, so I do keep this golden eye as well, just in case it could be useful for a bonus card, but do have 1 cavity nest, but yeah, not sure about it. But what did we do in the first? My opponent, won the first end around goal. I wasn't obviously competing for that. I just kept the food. The second one, I've actually got a good chance of winning, because I've got obviously getting some eggs in the wetland anyway, so I can qualify for it obviously no problem, and maybe I can compete. So that's not a bad end around goals for full tuck. Yeah, okay, they're okay, but again, not finding any worms or grains to get this blackbird down. That was my focus, to try and get this blackbird, bring blackbird down, and just not finding the grains. So we just had to keep picking these random foods. I did sort of consider just not using the hummingbird that turn, because I knew I couldn't get those foods, but I still think getting a bit of food is fine. We can hopefully utilise it later. So I picked up a rat just randomly. Probably not going to play this buzzard, certainly not with food anyway, but maybe we'll be able to use it. Yeah, we did pick up the sandpiper, so that's one of the issues that I had. We needed more cards in order to get a card surplus when you're tucking 2 behind the grackle and the blackbird. So the sandpiper, obviously nice and cheap as well, so that could potentially be handy. And I was on the verge of playing it here, just forcing it down, because But then I looked and I noticed my opponent does not have good card access, like really at all. So actually giving him cards not necessarily a good idea at all. And also I didn't really want to force it down. The food obviously was at a premium here, and I didn't want to waste 2 food, so I decided to keep on drawing. And we did get a couple of nice things there. Yeah, still, again we come to the hummingbird and no food for the blackbird, so this blackbird is becoming more and more difficult for me. But you see, I did get the mockingbird here, which also makes my bonus card and could definitely be useful in this tuck-in engine to copy the swallow principally. So yeah, I'll definitely think about that now. Again, I considered not just skipping the hummingbird while the food I need wasn't there, but yeah, they had okay food access. Obviously, keeping chip sparrow is very nice, so I decided to just use it, I think, here. And yeah, the food, I was hoping that I could still use the food in the future. So yeah, obviously I did get this coot as well, which could also have been used in the engine, but I didn't. Obviously, still hadn't have any grain to get that either. And actually, the mockingbird, I felt might have been a better option for it, and just because of the flexibility it gave. And yeah, I was looking for something better for this 5th slot, I think. A bird that gave cards maybe, but yeah, I don't know. And we do finally get, you see me absolutely grab that worm with great panache there, because I was so delighted to see a feeder full of grains and worms. But so yeah, I did take the worm, and but now obviously we still haven't got the food for the blackbird, but we do have the food for the mockingbird. So in that case, I think that maybe getting the mockingbird down first was a better option here. Just get a few more tucks, nothing else too useful in that recent draw. Golden Eye wasn't really going to happen. So yeah, I was just thinking about this end of round here. So you want to try and get the grackle full at the end if possible, and the opponent definitely could get up more spaces there, but I don't know, I thought I had a chance, maybe getting a draw or something. Anything but a loss is definitely a bonus when you're going full tuck. They got the blackbird, red-winged blackbird. So yeah, different potential for them egg laying to that. But yeah, it gets mockingbird down. So now it was a 3-point engine. It's now a 4-point engine with the mockingbird and obviously a food with a hummingbird. So it's not the most craziest full tuck yet at all. At 4 points, it's okay. But I still don't have further potential in this engine here with this baby blackbird or something else I could find. But yeah, the opponent got a lot of white and X spaces, but their egg production isn't great. So, we get the Chiff-Chaff. I was absolutely looking for Mute Swan. That was my number one hope to try and find. But we do get the Chiff-Chaff instead, which I'd absolutely take. Yeah. And I do have a think about the end of round, and do I want to fill up this grackle so that I have 4? Or do I just repeat the swallow again? Disadvantage of that obviously is it does fill up more, it's quicker. But I don't have a full eggs for the next activation, but I did think I had a chance of at least pushing them to having to lay eggs, which is quite a poor action for them. Yeah, I don't know. There was a chance I thought I could get a draw. They did have to. They could have just obviously get food to get and use the chipping sparrow, but I was okay to push them here for the end of round. Again, just random food there. I was just seeing what food they had to see which of the food in the feed I was going to take and leave them with, if whichever one I thought might have been, or the two that I thought may have been least useful to them. But yeah, we get a tree swallow, something else that could have definitely gone into this engine, but yeah, I was pretty happy. Pretty happy at this stage. Certainly not, as I say, the craziest full tucks, but we do lose the end of round with his their chipping spur activation, and in the third round we get the my nemesis in the World Cup, the white stalk that my opponents kept finding. So yeah, my opponent didn't have a lot going on really. They obviously had a very bad start and struggled on a bit since then, but there we go, their prayers have been answered now. In this third round, they get the hold of a white stalk, but they rule 16 me a Benes Eagle, so I think that was a reasonably fair trade. And I just got rid of that Greyhound Owl just so that he didn't have it, but no particular thoughts of playing it. But so yeah, if we can get this Chiff Chaff down now, and then the Benes Eagle, we'll have maxed out our bonus card. Which is, yeah, not something you expect with the full tuck, but it's not bad, is it? And we've actually got a chance of competing for this end of round. I'll probably show you where we are at the moment, but I think we're pretty neck and neck in terms of food cost of birds right now. And yeah, a bit more rubbish drawn there, but that's fine. We're about to get a Chiff Chaff down and get rid of all these useless cards. Yeah, so the old yellow-headed blackbird, that's definitely not something I could have predicted at the start here. Yellow-headed blackbird is not going down into this full tuck. Yeah, just the circumstances, just the lack of food for it, and finding some perfectly good other options. Yeah. So rip the blackbird. So yeah, my opponent gets white stalk and then house finch. So they had developing a very nice grassland now. And yeah, just get rid of all these useless wetland birds first of all, that I'm obviously not going to use. We know, yeah, so just copying the swallow for the duration of the game pretty much. I could have copied the hummingbird if it would have been useful, but I think copying the swallow obviously for points is better at the moment. And yeah, I had this Greyhound Owl. I may as well play it if I can get the food for it. So obviously there's lots of rodents in the feeder, so that's what I was sort of thinking. Maybe we could play the Greyhound Owl, and certainly for the end of round as well as just for the points. So this, obviously the Chiff Chaff isn't fully utilised here because at the moment I've got a bit of a surplus of cards, but once they're gone with this Benes Eagle, etc., I'm only going to be able to tuck two around in order to keep one free for the Grackle and one free for the Swallow. So yeah, it's definitely not the best tucking engine. Certainly the order of the birds is not ideal, but it's fine. Yeah, I was planning on playing that Horned Owl, but we do get a Golden Eagle, which meets the bonus card, and it's sort of better. You can put it in the grassland, and I was looking forward to this fourth end of round. Obviously, eggs in ground nests, and there was no way I was going to be able to do that without making a very inefficient turn of laying 2 eggs. So I was looking at ways to qualify for that without actually having to do that. I was really looking for the snowy owl or the turtle dove to be able to lay an egg on a bird from playing them, but the other option I had now with getting this Golden Eagle is I could play that in the grassland, play the Benes Eagle in the grassland as well, free an egg off the Grackle, and then I could lay eggs at the end using that grassland, and that would at least be 3, maybe 4 points with an eagle hunt. So that was my thoughts here. So yeah, Golden Eagle goes in. Unfortunately, my opponent did play a couple more birds and just push ahead in the end of round goal. They played the Penotha Tree Warbler to consolidate that. So yeah, obviously all the food I was giving them throughout the game with the hummingbirds, definitely sort of coming back to bite me there with that. Very nice sort of play, bang, 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 playing birds for them there. The stork, the grasshopper sparrow, the house finch, and that the predatory warbler. But they did have a lot of food on them. But that's fine. I was pretty happy with this game so far. So yeah, even though it didn't win the end of round, I did decide to play the bananas anyway, just to free off that grackle egg, really. They did get food with their vulture, but that's okay. So yeah, they just sneak it. It's been a domination from them so far in the OR. I was hoping to get a draw them, but not quite. So yeah, we're going to the last round. Just a couple of things in the tray there that I decided I should probably deny them, particularly that Godwit. I did briefly entertain the idea of trying to get the food for this blackbird, not tucking with the Chef and then running a grassland, like pivoting to a grassland right at the end, but decided it wasn't worth it. I did mess up a little bit here and didn't leave myself a card for the swallow, but for the second activation, but that's okay. So yeah, interesting game and full tuck. Not quite how I envisaged full tuck, but it sort of worked pretty well. Opponent's got a very nice grassland now. They're getting minimum 5 points a turn and a card, and some cycling with Venture. They've got a very nice end game here. Considering their start, they've done very, very well indeed. Black Vulture and a Migratory Bird. And they're built up to very nice grassland engine now. So yeah, I was still very much digging for that, the Snowy Owl or the Turtle Dove or the Little Bastard. One of those, that's what I was looking for to prevent me from having to lay eggs for this end of round. But it just wasn't happening, and while I wasn't getting anything to play, there was no point in me using the hummingbird, so I was skipping that. So yeah, still, guess what, we're going to go tucking. We're going to go for cards again and find nothing of use. So, same old story. I do briefly think about this lesser white fruit and using that to lay an egg, but that would obviously not have worked because I've got eggs on the grackle, so... So my opponent did find the snow bunting, which I'm sure they would have loved to have found earlier, but yeah, a bit unfortunate that they got that in so late. I did decide to deny some of their stuff in the tray. I don't know if they even could play it this late or if they had the food for it, but I thought I may as well get rid of particularly this king ram. I think I get rid of here, so just in case. There it goes. So yeah, we did end up utilising all that food that I picked up with having, but I just that one fish sitting there. But I was pretty happy with that. We ended up using obviously the rodents on the eagle, and then some of the other food, the cherries obviously on the mockingbird, etc. So all that food wasn't wasted, just that one fish staying in there, but that's okay. And we're going to end up with one card, I think, at the end as well, so pretty efficient game. And I do decide just to, well, obviously had to just egg lay for the Chiff Chaff and the eagle hit. So that was very nice, and yeah, it really looks like I've got citizen scientist, doesn't it? That is you don't often see that a board that looks like you have citizen scientist, but it definitely looks like it. But yeah, it's a weird one for our opponent getting food with the black vulture, but that's fine. So yeah, look at that board. Look at the number of eggs, lots of tucks, not as much as me, but plenty of tucks, decent amount of bird points. So yeah, I wasn't completely confident. I knew my opponent's done really well there, particularly in those last 2 rounds. So I wasn't completely happy. But again, we lose an end of round. We get an absolute trolloping on the end of rounds, and yeah, that also made me nervous too. But very low bird points. I was surprised. V36 and not very many bonus parts, and that really surprised me. So this is the end of round, and this is the eggs that they're going to be zooming ahead. But yeah, it all came down to those tucks. They had a few, but even with a suboptimal full tuck system, you're still going to get a good amount of tucks. And yeah, we do get the win. And very nice, 111. Really happy with that. Yeah, and a great start to our tournament. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again next time.